Are we live? I think we're live. I just wanted to do that. Why the fuck not? Welcome to the Wednesday night Nachi free live stream, where we are going to single-handedly save Venezuela from crisis with none other than a Canadian by the name of Ernest Snook. And in honor of Venezuela and Canada, I'm going to be drinking this beer from Holland. Okay. Anywho, we're going to be talking with Ernest Snooks, and I'm very curious. You introduce yourself, man. You talk about what you're trying to do with the whole thing of trying to bring over Venezuelans. Is this going to be like a Syrian refugee crisis that we're going to have in Canada now with Venezuela? What's how you planning on doing this?
There's going to be a lot more arroz con pollo and churros, though. I can promise you that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Maybe some beefsteak a la pobre, but no sé ahora. That's my Spanish for the night. But I'm sure people who go on Nachi streams know me. I'm a general regular on here. All right, I try to be, much to his chagrin, but you know,
not at all, man. Not at all, dude.
I'm just being honest.
With all kidding aside, I mean, in case any of my Venezuelan friends or relatives-in-law, because there are Venezuelans in my family, but they're in-laws mostly. I'm dead serious about this. I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that we could solve this, but talk about it, get ideas going. I'm just curious to see, because I'm definitely not for the invasion of Venezuela, according to Trump. I think that's fucking crazy talk. You're kind of for it, and there's someone let's just say someone I know who is Venezuelan, was just in Venezuela last year in Maracaibo. Yeah, that's where he's from. And he's all for it. It's not that he's all for the invasion of Venezuela, but he's like, I don't know what else can be done. You know, there almost needs to be some sort of military intervention, according to him, of Venezuela.
There does need to be some sort of intervention. I know right now that from what I've been hearing from my friends on the ground in Lima and in Bogota, that sanctions are coming up more significant than what they've had now. Is it going to do anything? I don't know. And if there was going to be a military intervention, I really doubt it would come from the United States. It would have to come from, Venezuela's two main neighbors, which are Colombia and Brazil. Brazil is currently involved in a rather strange House of Cards-esque presidential series of scandals. So I don't know how useful they'll be, because for some reason every 10 minutes a president goes to prison. Nothing wrong with that, though. But Colombia is currently Colombia. So I think they're too busy dancing to cumbia music right now to consider military intervention. But
sorry, what I'm trying to do, just in case, but anyway.
No worries, man.
No worries. I was laughing at
No, it's no problem. I'm not as good a comedian as you, but I'm trying my best here.
I am not a comedian. I will fucking rube on you.
Oh, if you are, I'm a campesino. Oh God, I'm using too much Spanish tonight. But no. What I'm trying to do is, by the way, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to keep muting it, because if not, I keep going back and forth. So please, by all means, in all seriousness or joking around, however, explain what you're trying to do. It sounds like
what I'm trying to do is trying to help people from Venezuela get the hell out of Venezuela. And for some reason, it is a monumentally difficult task, because at the moment, the Canadian government does not consider the Venezuelan situation to be severe enough. It doesn't matter that people are starving, and it costs, I believe, around 3,000 bolivars to get a...
Oh, sorry, you cut off there. It costs about 3,000 bolivars for what?
For a loaf of bread. And that's like, from what I've been hearing from a friend of mine in Maracaibo in Zulia, in that province, is that it's so-so, but it's starting to get bad. And I'm surprised. I don't know how it is in Caracas. I can only tell what I'm being told in Maracaibo. But from what I've been hearing in Caracas, or what I've been reading, I should say, they've been eating pigeons and dogs and whatever else they can hit with a stick, which is frightening to say the least. And for some reason, the Canadian government and a lot of other governments don't consider this to be, crisis mode yet. And I've been emailing members of parliament. I've been talking about it on Facebook. I've been trying to reach out to different like refugee settlement groups. I haven't had much luck, to tell you the truth. I've messaged refugee settlement groups on the west coast of my province. Not a word back. Not even one. And the Syrians not a problem. It's I guess the equivalent in the United States would be the Episcopalians, but we call them the Anglicans. The Anglican Church in my area, in my province, spent $37,000 last year on settling Syrian refugees. That's a wonderful thing. They only spent $1,000 on their own outreach programs for local, which, listen, at the moment, it's all on your congregation. It's still a large difference in money, but they haven't spent anything on the Venezuelans. And I've talked about it. I've reached out to people. I've gotten a few messages of support and offers of help from people in Alberta, which actually has a significant Venezuelan population. And I've worked with a lot of Venezuelans in the past, and that's why I'm honestly so passionate about helping them, because I mean they're great people. I mean most Latinos I've ever met are great people, good workers, and damn, the salsa is just awesome. But yeah, so I mean it's almost like it's something I want to do to help, and they need the help. So I'm trying to reach out. I'm trying to find out if anyone knows, how to help them, apply for the refugee status, apply for the asylum, help me, raise some money, because it also benefits my area as well. And I say that because, as you know, Nachi, I like my area. I like living here. I praise it a fair bit despite the government. But we need people. And what better than Latinos, because they work hard. I've never, you don't usually see too many that
That's
don't.
racist.
It's okay. I was married to a Latino. It's fine. It's fine. I have the carte blanche.
Now here's a funny thing. Like this would almost be interpreted as, how do you call it? And I'm just saying this. I think it's a great thing that you're trying to do. But it's funny how people would probably, if it were like, I don't know, pick Syria and pick, I don't know, fucking people on the left doing what you're doing, and then most people be like, oh man, it's fucking virtue signaling and shit like that. No, go ahead, man. But
no, I'm not trying to virtue signal, because man, you see, no. Trust me. I mean, like if I was, I'd be out there. The Venezuelans need our help. We need to bring the Syrians too. We need to match these groups together into one joyful, multi-ethnic ball of love, or something like that. And then
right.
The Antifa flag would come out, and then some fellow who looks like Che Guevara on meth would make a speech, but. I don't want to do that. And you see, I don't want this to be, everyone look at me, look what I'm trying to do. I honestly would just be happy to see people getting out of this place and getting settled in here. I don't know how they'll like the cold, but what the hell, it probably beats starvation and eating palomas or pigeons. So,
yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, now in terms of it being a crisis and stuff, speaking to this person that I was speaking to actually today, this one guy from Venezuela, from Maracaibo, he was there supposedly in November last year. And he says, and I asked him, of course, in my mind, I just see the riot scenes and shit like that. Probably like the way so many people look at the United States now, and they think everything is fucking Charlottesville or like Ferguson and stuff, and it's not. These are contained, and even within Charlottesville or Ferguson, these are contained in very small areas. And he was telling me the same thing with what you see on Venezuela. They're contained. He said, believe it or not, life is it's as normal as it can be. It is chaotic, but chaotic in the sense of prices. Like, the prices are just fucking wildly disparate with toothpaste and stuff. But there's still a semblance of normalcy. Like, it's not like anyone walking out on the street's going to get shot, or you will get mugged, though. That's the
yeah, the crime is that part is bad.
For a while. That's been going on for a while in Venezuela. I know of 2 other people who've been to Venezuela and who have been robbed at gunpoint from the airport by the taxi driver.
I
One guy
believe
who
that.
one guy who was dropped off in a neighborhood, and if I'm remembering the story correctly, I think he was dropped off like in his shorts or his fucking underwear in some neighborhood. The taxi driver just robbed him blind. And no, and granted, I wouldn't have put up a fight either because being robbed at gunpoint, and you assess what you're going to lose, and you're like, but now, anyway, the point is, someone else I know was robbed at gunpoint also, but it was like a group robbing at gunpoint. Like it was him and two other people supposedly in the taxi coming from the airport, and they all got robbed, but it was very simple. It was a very simple robbing, and he just dropped them off there. They gave their jewelry and their fucking luggage, which this person I know, he knew he was already prepared for something like that, so he didn't lose much. So that situation goes on in Venezuela. When I say that, what can we do? Dude, you're doing a hell of a lot more than I'm for. I'm just making a damn YouTube video. Wow,
I wish I was.
Wow.
Now, Nachi, I mean, like, I'm not going to say that I'm doing as much as I could. I mean, I wish I was. I mean, I'm raising the awareness. I'm trying to get people organized. But I mean, honestly, I'm still at step one. It cost a lot of money to settle people, get them in here. And Canada, despite what Justin Trudeau says, is not as welcoming as people think. I know for a fact that, like, one fellow I know, he was trying to get his girlfriend here,
Right.
and she's Venezuelan, and they said, "Oh no, well, you'll have to pay. You'll have to get her in as a spouse or a common law spouse. That's going to cost you about $1,024, and it can take 12 to 24 months." And that's not including all the papers, translations, affidavits, all the other fun stuff you've got to go through. And I've been through the Canadian immigration process before in my person, not going to get in detail on that, of course, but, I've been through the process. It is expensive, it is time consuming, and it is a nightmare. So welcoming as Justin Trudeau likes to pontificate about. It's actually quite the opposite. I think it's easier to actually get into the U.S. than it is to get into Canada. If anyone hears me scratching, it is my cat attempting to come in and join the live stream.
It'll be a little while till mine comes on. By the way, it's funny. I'm looking at the comments, and somebody said Venezuela needs more guns. I don't know if that's really the solution.
You can't get guns in Venezuela, though, because I've got friends in Maracaibo, and they're telling me, we want to fight back, but we can't because it takes too long to get the gun, and two, if you get anything bigger than a slingshot, the government is going to investigate you, and then you will disappear.
What I would almost think. No, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say too, but then again, I'm sure you could. I'm sure I showed you an article earlier, off air, or at least the picture of it, where 3 Venezuelan soldiers ended up in Guyana begging for food, and 2 of them had rifles and 1 of them didn't. So if they're desperate enough, you might be able to trade a couple pieces of bread and some sardines for an AK-47. I'm not sure, but it's
that's right. They're actually. I read that in the news today. Also, as well as fucking Maduro going to Cuba to fucking honor Fidel, which is, of course, not a surprise, and I shouldn't get upset about it.
I'm not surprised, though. I'm really not, because Chavez idolized Castro, and Maduro idolizes both of them because Maduro's not smart enough to idolize anyone else. And
no, he's clearly, from what I understand, that was a classic puppet that was put in. To a large degree, I would not be surprised if he's actually against all the shit that's happening, but it's just forces behind him. This is not. I'm pretty sure all that's going on right now is not his doing. These are not.
No, I mean, it's what led up to it. It's they call it the Dutch sickness, and ironically, you are drinking a Dutch beer, yeah. But the Dutch sickness is that where you use too much of resource money on social programming, and then you become reliant on it. And my province did the exact same thing, except unfortunately, luckily for us, we didn't have the same crisis that Venezuela had. But they over relied on the oil They spent too much money on these social programs, some of which were, not terrible programs, teaching people how to read, these things like that. But they put all their eggs in one basket, and then they took the basket and threw it on the ground and then jumped up and down. So
Right.
that's what caused it. And now, Maduro's there, no education. The man didn't even graduate high school, for God's sakes. I mean, it's like having the village idiot run the bank. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he thinks he's Mas Duro, he thinks he's tough. But, if I'm going to use my terrible Spanish, he's more molido than Maduro. He's more fluffy and soft and weak.
Right.
And so it's only going to spiral downwards now, man. It's going to get even worse. And as soon as you read, like I read in the Miami Herald that those Venezuelans ended up in Guyana with their guns, and that there alone is indicative of a very serious crisis. That when the army, who is supposedly, the vanguard of the counter-revolution, they're hungry. How bad is it actually within the rest of the country?
I mean, the only idea. Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say, in terms of like trying to think in terms of as realistic solutions as possible, it's almost more like an information campaign, if possible. And dude, I wish I could just do it from the comfort of my own home, dude. I'll be honest. It's funny. Somebody, one of the guys, obvious, he was like, "Why should we help them?" I'm like, "Why the fuck not? If we could." And I'm talking about in terms of ideas, and I think. Hey, words and ideas have consequences, and they don't always have to be for the worse. I think they could be for the better. And it does amaze me. Now this is definitely still relevant to this. Oh my God, the people with the most pool, people like fucking Oliver Stone. God damn it! And even though he's been, from what I've seen, he seems to be kind of silent on Venezuela now. But I just don't understand how people don't see that. How do you not see the utter collapse of this? Oh my God. And that's I don't know. My idea would be that if there would be some possible way of just disseminating information and convincing people over there that. But I feel almost ridiculous saying this right now, because I can only imagine people who are waiting in line for hours, if not days, for fucking food. The last thing they want to do is hear any even remote fucking lesson on economics. They're just forced to fucking food. But one big one for sure is also, and I don't know, I would love to know what are the birth rates, or because I think that is one of the biggest drivers of poverty throughout the world, definitely here in the United States. It's just people having fucking children after children and like fucking 4, 5, 6 kids. And then it's interesting to hear the left, which I don't want to get into the whole left-right divide bullshit, but when it comes to global warming and when it comes to climate change, what calling it now, which I can't entirely deny either. It's hot as fuck down here in Miami. Unusually hot. Unusually.
It's cold here, actually, ironically enough.
Good. I hope Al Gore was full of shit, but I shudder to think he might have been half right.
If you want to get away from the heat, Nachi, come on up, man. We got some beer waiting for you, and a not very sandy beach, but it's still next to water and has some rocks.
No, I would love to see that, but what I was going to say is it's interesting how people on the quote-unquote left, or the regressives, whatever, they're all for birth control. They're all for population control when it comes to their pet fucking projects, especially for something like climate change. Like, oh yeah, and of course they're not talking about poor people in that sense. They're fucking just talking about the middle class and especially rich people, But the fact is that, and I think that is one of the biggest drivers of poverty. And especially now, once we start, because now I'm starting to see more and more fucking drum beating of the universal basic income, which I saw today in the news. And supposedly one of the first people who's pushing this out now, which I think is a good thing, I think it's probably going to be inevitable, is Richard Branson. And right now, I think it's still on let me see the Drudge Report, that he's one of the first people that's starting to just basically give out money in the form of cash. Then, of course, you have Elon Musk also, and Mark Zuckerberg too. And of course, why are these guys the biggest ones in on it? Because they are truly, especially Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is now, I think, one of the top 10 richest men in the world.
Yep.
And he knows he is very, very complicit. Like he tries. Fox News, I'm looking at the Drudge Report now. There's a whole new bold red headline. Fox News host death threats after criticizing Trump. Oh my God! Why is this so difficult to fucking figure out?
I figured that he would have gotten death threats for not criticizing Trump enough. But I just want to say that obvious internet troll who I've talked to a few times and he's pretty good. He says we can't solve all the world's problems. Sure, we can fantasize about what we're going to do, but that's the point. They chose this route that this is what socialism leads to. And yes, they did choose it. And then they tried to unchoose it, but the government decided
right.
We're just
going to
rig the election
story right now as well at the same time.
Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to get in the way there. I just seen that and I thought that Troll made a good point. They did bring this onto themselves, yes. But now they're trying to unbring it, and they can't. They're trying to undo it, and they can't do it. And this is where we need to talk about lending a helping hand, because. But actually, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty sure this is the real reason why they're not. The government in Canada and that isn't so eager to let them come in, because they've had a taste of the good old socialism in its purest form. I don't think they're going to be voting, towards the left anytime soon. So, it would give the Conservative Party and a lot of, conservative parties around, different countries that they'd head to a bit of a boost. So, Justin Trudeau doesn't really like people with differing opinions. So I don't really think they'll be too eager to bring in, 10, 20,000 new conservatives. Hello, Nachi. I think I've lost you. I'm just wondering if everyone can hear me. Can everyone hear me? I'm not sure. I think we've gotten cut off. If everyone can hear me, can everyone... I am really not sure what's going on. I think we have lost Nachi. I guess really not sure what's going on. Live chat, gotta love it. Troll, I definitely see where you're coming from on this. I'm not sure, Chase. I'm really not sure. I'm hoping not. If he did, my own channel may be in trouble. But I'm not sure why it would be. We didn't really do anything. But then again, Google's on a witch hunt lately, so Got to be careful. But Troll, I agree. They knew, they should have known what was coming, 100%. But at the same time, free stuff. Who can turn down free stuff? Nachi will be back in a second. He has lost his connection, so I will temporarily helm this ship. I would also like to say that this has been sponsored, unofficially, by rum. Please be legal drinking age. Although I believe in America it is 21, which is quite strange. It's a crisis, though, guys. It honestly is. And yes, Troll, I'm honest. Like, I mean, listen, and I appreciate the discourse, man. And by the way, I have to have you on a stream with me sometime. Oh, deadly, Nachi's back.
There we go. Okay, cool. Resume. But at least so it was. So you kept it going, I guess.
I tried to. I've engaged.
Cool. I don't know. I don't know if this is because of my damn Microsoft book or if it's because of AT&T. Either way, still a great thing that we have this fucking technology. I don't want to sound like a fucking pampered little poodle, but
the interval was sponsored by Ron, by the
way. Nice. Anyway, I think I might have left off on saying, fuck it. I like talking about this stuff. I mean, whether things get solved or not, I think it's still an important conversation to have. In my fucking opinion, for whatever it's worth. Bottom line is, on Drudge Report, I was seeing this, let me not get sidetracked with the Fox News host death threats, fucking Ebony Williams. Everybody now, this is what's happening right now. By the way, just to get a little sidetracked, this is what's happening right now. It's which way's the political wind blowing? Oh, that way? Is everybody angry with Trump again? Okay, me too. That's fucking
Nachi. When are they not angry with Trump? When Donald Trump could literally save the world and bring about world peace and hug every child he could hug and make everything better, and they would still find something to hate him for. I'm not endorsing Trump, by the way, but it could have been a lot. I think they give him
the way he carries himself, and he could have really made himself look. If he would have, and I do find that a little odd that he didn't feel the need, because I did see some of those videos, especially the night before, of these people.
Yeah, the tiki torch.
The tiki torches, fucking blood and soil and all that stupid shit.
Yeah, that should have been dealt with right off the bat. Like, I mean, but then again, I tell you this, you won't be getting any tiki torches at Walmart anytime soon. So I guess my next Hawaiian theme my next Hawaiian theme party is way off.
But it really pisses me off that people don't want to see that, yes, Antifa is fucking just as culpable at the very least. Look, if you really want to fucking break it down, of course, it's the alt-right, it's the fucking white supremacists, the neo-Nazis, whatever, that are responsible for the death of, I think her name is Heather Heyer, okay? And it was that guy, whatever his name, John White, the guy driving the Dodge Challenger. He's ultimately really responsible for that death. But the death of the two state troopers in that helicopter, that's both sides' fault. And I've been fucking tweeting that shit.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, whatever it's worth. On fucking Facebook. This needs to be fucking said. God damn it. Anyway,
but you see, like, they've recently had a vigil here. Now you've got me off it, so salute to you, Nachi, and thank you for getting me off topic as well. But man, that's good stuff. But they had this event here as a candlelight vigil to, stand against racism, fascism, and everything else, and support the poor girl who died. And personally, my sympathies go out with her.
And the same with me, man. It's sincere sympathy. and condolences that can be for people we don't know, you know?
And then here's the part. This is what concerned me a little bit, is because the local big shot events reporter for the province took a picture of these two girls, and one of them had a "Keep Calm and Punch Nazis" sign, and it kind of bothered me because you're at a vigil to stop racism and stop violence, and you're bringing a sign that is literally saying, "Hey, punch people." It doesn't make much sense to me. And I tried to say to somebody, I said, listen, you can't be encouraging violence at an anti-violence, racism event. And they're like, oh, it's okay because it was Nazis. Well, I said, you better go to the old folks' home and find that Nazi, because he's pretty damn old right now. I mean, I would know. My grandfather fought the Nazis. And these guys nowadays, they're all messed up. And God, I honestly hate fascism and communism with an equal amount of burning passion. But encouraging violence against people isn't going to make things better. I mean, you can't stomp out an ideology like that with your fists. We did that already once, and it's apparently still here. So, the only way to do it is to invalidate their arguments and defeat them with logic and intelligence. Because, like I said, your fists aren't always going to work.
No, and not only that.
No, sorry. Go on. It's just, I just want to say, and frig Nazis, frig Antifa, let's just calm the hell down and have a drink and just work an honest day's job and not have to think about all this hellish shit.
And it's not just the violence, it's the chaos, the societal chaos. Even though I think, honestly, this is going to fizzle out like a bad fart pretty soon, because the majority of people who are engaging in this shit are young 20-somethings. You'll notice the guy driving the Dodge Challenger, not even 20-something, 20 years old. And clearly a fucking not right in the head. I mean, aside from being a white supremacist and shit, I read that his own mother was threatened by him. He supposedly, from, unless that was fake news, he supposedly at one point, because I guess he was just being raised by his mother. Again, another problem with single mother. But now I'm just speculating. But according to the story, he actually locked his mother up in a bathroom because she tried to fucking keep him from playing too many video games or some shit like that. Obviously, the guy's got major fucking anger issues. As far as I'm concerned, death penalty. That's murder.
100%.
Death penalty. You're gone. You're out. You're a proven lethal threat to society.
He needs to be removed. And this is coming from Canadians. Most Canadians don't support the death penalty, but for this person, I can't even call him person. This creature is what he is. There is no mercy for people like that. I mean, he willingly, enthusiastically took a life, and he must pay the price. And putting him in jail and causing him to be a burden on the state is not going to make anything better. This woman lost her life.
Yeah.
And
that's murder.
This kind of circumstance, it is an eye for an eye, to quote for you, not so good book, but no. But either way, well, actually, no, that says an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, so that's not a good example.
For me, it's not even a matter of vengeance. It's just a matter of pragmatism. These are people who are proven lethal threats, and the recidivism rates of murderers, dude. Give a murderer a second chance, they'll do it again, man. And not every single one. Yes, there's manslaughter, there's fucking, all the categories. And yes, that is true. It's not that cut and dry either. But this was clearly not self-defense. This was a person who had trouble, had mental fucking issues, and whatever. Anyway, let's not get too sidetracked with that. Bottom line is,
we can both agree. We can both agree that white supremacism and communism are shit.
Yeah,
And
And
I condemn it.
To tie it into Venezuela, this mass collective hysteria that I'm fucking seeing now, which, like I said, I know it's gonna fizzle out, but I can see this easily spiraling into Venezuela. This could happen, and it's due to ignorance. Like what's going on in Venezuela, sadly enough, and there's plenty of rich people in Venezuela to blame, by the way. There's plenty. I've heard that from Venezuelans complaining about a certain elitist class in Venezuela, that they take advantage of that. There's many sides to these things, but
it's Maduro is one of them, man.
Now he is. I mean, I thought he was a bus driver.
He was a bus driver, and then he, for some reason, and he was a bus driver, and then he was Chavez's bodyguard, and that's where he started to get in. But I mean, when he became president, I mean, he salsaed while people rioted. That's documented, and I seen the video. And for now, if you go out and say anything about Maduro, there's a chance you're going to disappear. You can't tell jokes about Maduro. I've been told that by friends. You don't joke about Maduro. You don't talk about Maduro in any negative light. It's not so bad yet. Now you'll get a bit of a warning, but that's how it starts. First, it starts off, you shouldn't say that. Next thing you know, the police are at your door at 12 o'clock at night, and then next morning, hey, where's Frank? Oh, don't talk about him anymore. He's disappeared. And it's how it starts. And Venezuela,
I thought that was already going on with Chavez, particularly with journalists who would even dare question that guy.
It is, but the thing is now that the internet is they're using that as a tool. I got a few friends who are journalists there. They're starting to use it as a tool, but they have to be so careful because you will wind up in prison, and it's not the good prison. It's not like what we get in Canada, at least, where you get a couple hours for video games and TV and exercise. It's 40 guys stuck in a cell, one bucket, and I don't even want to think about what else. But they've been beating up journalists, they've been beating up protesters, they've been shooting the protesters, and then you have the delightfully named colectivos gathering together with government-sponsored weaponry, or government-supplied weaponry, I should say, to be the counter to the revolutionaries, as it were. And it's just frightening. And the crisis is bad because, when I was in Lima, you go down the main square, man, all it was Venezuelans. And, you talk to them, and I'd be like, why are you here? Well, I was probably going to be killed in Venezuela. That's what one person told me. Another said he'd probably starve. Another one said that, his brother disappeared, and, he was scared he was next. So, they left. One guy was a street performer. He was an engineer.
Wow.
And he's doing street work. And I didn't know what to say to him, man. Another one was a nurse, and she was selling empanadas, which was a bit crazy. But it's just the way things are there. And I feel that we're not doing enough in terms of sanctions and things like that. I guess military intervention, it's not a plausible option. It's a lose-lose for everybody, for the Venezuelan people as well as, the attacking country.
Oh yeah. That costs. That's money. That's lives. Forget the money. That's lives spent. Lives spent. But
yeah. We have to do. But we can't think that this is going to just wait for democracy to come along next election. And by God, Maduro's out free and fair. That's not going to happen. Socialism, once it gets in, it's hard to get out. And, a lot of, Eastern European countries learned that at their peril because, after 45, they had elections, and especially the ones, in the Eastern Bloc. The socialists got in, and as soon as they got in, even on, a couple of seats, they slowly pushed out everyone who wasn't a communist. And it's what happened in Venezuela. You let the PSUV get in, and then all of a sudden, Maduro says, oh, well, the the National Assembly. Huh, what a bunch of fascists and capitalists and people who are all to the detriment of the Venezuelan nation. I'm going to suspend this with my Supreme Tribunal of Justice. Okay, Supreme. It sounds like a really ripped off version of the Justice League, but as
Yeah.
Justice Tribunal, they all get together and suspend the democracy, or they suspended the assembly, and then people complained and gathered in a significant amount of force that Maduro said, okay, I was only joking, it was just a test. But it was a legitimate power grab, and this was a couple of months ago. I remember when it happened. I called my friends to make sure they were okay because it was a coup. And the last time we had a coup like that was with Alberto Fujimori in Lima in Peru when he had the auto golpe, and he overthrew the Congress himself, and then failed. Now he's in prison on an island with a communist and a guy who's named Vladimir. So it's that's a good part. But anyway, they recently had the new Constitutional Assembly put up, and they said, "Oh, it's free and fair. It's great." One problem: they were all the people who won were PSUV, so they're going to vote for the way Maduro wants them to vote, and Maduro wants to have a constitutional convention coming up, if I'm not mistaken, and he wants to revise the Venezuelan constitution to suit him, which pretty much means he gets to stay in power a little bit beyond his term, and he doesn't have to worry about the election that is supposed to come up, I believe, next year. And the Organization of American States has done squat all. They've complained, they've pulled out their ambassadors, but if I'm not mistaken, they're still doing some sort of trade, with Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And it shouldn't work like that. And plus, I mean, if the OAS takes away its, any kind of financial support, who are they going to rely on? Cuba? Castro Raul can barely keep himself afloat, let alone the bloody Venezuelans. And so, it comes down to putting the pressure on the Republic. And sooner or later, it's going to have to crack because, and it already is. I mean, like I said earlier, the Miami Herald said it themselves. Starving soldiers wandering in other countries looking for food. It's the start. And
Oh
this
no,
is only going to get worse.
yeah, no. I mean, I thought it couldn't get any worse than it already was, but apparently, again, I can only go by people who've been there and stuff, and then telling me it's still not that bad. I know you see that in the news; you only see the worst, but
I
bringing
got a
it back.
picture for you. Yep. Sorry. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, bringing it back to what you're trying to do. Realistically, how many people did you imagine that you could actually bring over? Like, did you have like a head count? Like what?
Depending on how much I can get, I don't even know, man. I'd be happy if I get 10 or 15. It's not easy, man.
Do you know 10 or
It's
15 people that you would be able to bring? Have you been in contact with people that you would be able to?
I know a few people who I'd like to bring over. A couple of journalists, and their friends and relatives who are engineers and that. But it's hard to get that support here. And I'm in a relatively rural and isolated area, so there's not a lot of support. And the people in my town, they're good people, good honest people, but they don't have the money, to dish out to help bring in new people. There's not the work and things like that. And it's hard to convince them that we need to give out this good helping hand, because I mean, essentially they are our neighbors, in a similar sense. I mean, they're relatively close to home, and we do share a general culture of sorts. We do share general same values. So I mean, it's not going to be a massive culture shock. You're going to have to go without good beer and good music. But anything without Romeo Santos is generally pretty good for me. But anyway, I'll substitute it with Tito Puente. But But you know what I mean. It's just
I am. I
yeah.
wish.
It's not a huge it's not a huge difference to an extent. I mean, it could be completely different shift, but it's not. And I just want to help. I don't know how successful I'll be. I don't know if I'll get one person, let alone 10, but I'm going to try. And if I get elected in September to the council here, I'm going to use the money that I get from that to wholeheartedly go towards that, except for the quarter that I promised to local groups in town. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to virtue signal. I'm not going to put on a show. I'm just saying. But if I have to, I will find my own methods to help them out if I can myself. How successful I'll be, Nachi, I'm not sure. If anyone who's listening has advice or information, or anything they can point me to, where to find me on Twitter. I'm on Ernest Snooks on Twitter. Support would be wonderful. It doesn't have to be money. I'm not here to beg for money. I don't ask for anything that I would not do myself. But like I said, any help, advice, even advice would be fantastic.
Hey, if you actually get it realistically and stuff like that, I would donate some money, man. And especially if you manage to get elected. I mean, the fact you're definitely. And here's the other thing. Okay, let me finish one thought. It's funny because I trip over so many of these thoughts.
No worries, man.
The first thought I'm going to say is you're definitely more of a man of action than I am. I'm just a shit talker on YouTube. Assuming, I'm sorry, I have to say this.
No, 100%.
I have to assume you're for real because that's the other thing. The people you meet on the internet, I don't know you from fucking Adam. I only know you from YouTube.
I agree.
You don't know. And that, by the way, for the few people who watch, I hope nobody thinks we're trying to fucking jerk anybody's chain. That's why I'm not saying anything about donating money. Hell, not even about buying shirts. I should be wearing my shirts, and I'm wearing a fucking polo shirt. I'm gonna fucking. So
how bourgeoisie are you?
Huh?
I said you're looking pretty bourgeoisie in that polo shirt, Nachi. Next thing I know, you'll start golfing.
Yeah, well, pretty much. What was I gonna say though? So it's not about that, but that'd be great, man, if you pulled that off. And it's, I mean,
but I'm like I said, I'm not gonna ask people to give any money. I'm not trying to. If I get it off the ground and I get something behind it, I would put the call out locally first, and then I'll go from there. But at the moment, I'm not going to just say, here, blindly throw me money, and then I'll give you an answer, not if I've accomplished anything. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing this to, put money in my own pockets. I honestly I don't like to see people in this kind of situation. And it disturbs me greatly. So first of all, I'm sorry to cut you off again, man. But if I can get the Canadian government or someone else, to say, listen, we'll just help them get in, that's fine. But if I have to, first of all, I want to see how I can do it through my own financial methods. That's all that matters to me first. If I can afford to do it, without having to rely on the good generosity of people, I'm going to do it. But, in the future, I don't know. I got to see how things get set up. I'm not going to ask for anything right off the bat. That's not who I am. If I was, I would be there, hand over the shekels and I'll send you a newsletter. I'm just going to do it.
No, that's great, man. And by the way, to wrap it up, so how's this whole thing going with you for getting elected into the council and stuff like that? How's
it's looking good.
Are you registered on a ballot or something, or?
You can't register till August 30th here for that. My good friend and my co-host on my own podcast, The Islander, is in town, and he has generously agreed to donate his free time to helping me get elected, which is, great. Shout out to my friend Lenny. So we'll be doing our own stream probably on Saturday. Just got to advertise myself just a little bit. But
Yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna
it's
say.
looking it's looking good so far, but it's a small town. It's unpredictable. A lot of the counselors this year aren't running, which is a big surprise to me, especially one who's been there for about 20 odd years. They decided it's finally time to step down, and I'm optimistic, but I'm not going to say it's in the bag. I always fight like I'm 10 points behind. I did it in the last. We had a by election, and I came in fourth out of fifth, but that was because I had only been back about 3 months and barely anyone remembered me. Now I've been involved in a lot of things, helping out, volunteering at a couple of carnivals, festivals, things like that. There's a convention coming up, so I'm involved in that, which is going to be great. I'll send you some pictures. The lieutenant governor is going to be there. He's like the head of state for the province, so it's going to be a pretty cool event. Lots of drinking and parades. Oh, Nachi, don't. You're going to make this a cat off, dude. 1 second. I got to do this. Come on, cat. Up you go. Ah, there we go. Look at that, dude. Yep. There we go.
Can't go wrong with cats. At least I think this is definitely within the YouTube guidelines.
I think it is. I mean, this is the appropriate kind of cat. Yeah, let's go with that. Got to keep this family friendly and advert friendly. But
she's multicolored. She's got a little bit of everything. She's a mix. Hey, dude, man, it's fucking awesome. What you're doing over there, I would love to definitely. Well, we'll definitely keep on keeping in touch. I'm gonna keep doing this shit, YouTube or no YouTube. I mean, I've been writing and especially drawing and stuff. This is what I've always wanted to do with my life. And getting into politics is something that I don't know. I've naturally gravitated to.
I could should, Nachi.
Huh?
You should listen, man. If you were to run for some kind of spot down in
that's
Miami,
what I don't want to do. That's what I do. No, but that's I'm not. By the way, I'm not.
But I'll hold you to account.
Huh?
If you run, I will hold you to account. And if you, come on, man, you make me jealous. My cat is not this friendly. My cat is just like a sourpuss. That's literally her extent. She's glaring at me now, so she knows.
But or you got other ones?
That's the only one I got. I've had it for years. My ex got it. Didn't even tell me where she got it. I have no idea how old this cat is. I'm assuming it's over 17.
Wow.
But it still, for some reason, decides every morning to go jogging. It's like an old person in Florida. She's on holidays now. She's just running up and down the hallway every night. It's great. And also leaving me delightful presents, as you know, cats tend to do on your floor. But you should consider politics, Nachi. I mean, everyone who is interested in making a difference, they need to do it. And, how successful I'm going to be, I don't know. I'm just going to keep on fighting, man, because I've been hearing people say, you know what, you'll get corrupted by it. It changes everybody, and I don't want it to. And if I do get on council or I get on another higher position in the future, I still want to live stream with you. And I mean, help encourage people to, to do some good. I'm not encouraging, massive social upheaval, but I'm encouraging people, to change the way that we do things. Even a little bit can be positive.
Oh, no, for sure. And that's part of the reason why I bother with these things. And I'm trying to see where it goes. I just have always wondered if you could actually do more, ironically enough, outside of politics. Because at least here in the United States, it seems like the only way to get elected for almost anything is massive marketing and campaigning. And you only get that with other people's money. And once other people's money comes in, demands and stuff. I always thought, well, at least ever since I started writing about politics and shit like that, I always felt like you could affect more by being one of those guys who's up the politicians' asses. Once you're in the
somewhat similar here, but I mean, like for municipal politics, you cannot donate over $100. If you do, the town, you have to report it, or I believe the town takes it. I'm not 100%. They've updated the rules recently, so I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you have to report it. And plus, rarely do you get donations on municipal campaigns, except in the capital. That's the big money show. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty much funding this my whole show. I mean, my family believes in me, which is the best endorsement, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
My father is an incredibly big judge of character, and he's very judgmental on these things, and he's also a former civil servant. So he looks at things very objectively, and he sat me down. He said, "Listen, I need to know two things before I even consider helping you." I was like, "Well, I'm your son. Can't you?" He's like, "No, no, no, no. I'm not going to help you. I need to ask you two questions." Okay. One, do you actually want to help people? Yes. Two, why do you want to run? I want to do some good. I just want to change things. Okay, I'll help you out. You got my vote. And he keeps an eye on things. He keeps an eye on, like what comments I'm making, where my stances are. And then I'll go visit and they'll be like, "So, why are you talking about lowering taxes? Why do you want to do it?" Okay, well, I want to do this, this, and this. Okay, that's great. You do know it's going to cause you to lay off some people in order to make up for the loss in revenue. Yeah, I'm going to have to. Why do you want to lay them off? So it's not going to be an easy choice, but you got to. Sometimes you have to make the hard decisions. And he said, "Okay,
Yeah, it's not like you
good."
want to lay them off. You know,
Well, you don't want to, but not at the same time. It's not the government's job to provide employment. The government should be, for me, a bare bones thing. It should be
me too.
infrastructure, basic services. That's it. And speaking of this, I've only got 15 days till the election starts, and I have to get up some sign design. So I got to go and find somebody. Yay! But
Look, man, I'll chip in, man, because that's easy enough.
oh God, actually, no, 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 man, I couldn't.
Nah, dude, fucking email. That's real simple. That's drawing takes time. Drawing takes time, and fucking quick typesetting and shit. Bro, I'll be more than happy to volunteer. And then that's how I know it'll be fucking real. Right? Whatever I put out there, you put it out. Follow that shit. I would love to, man. I would love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. And if I win, I'll repay you for your generosity and your help, man. Because I mean, I honestly, ever since we started interacting, we've gotten along pretty good. We've had some good conversations. I honestly love coming on your streams, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I think we got a bit off topic, with the trumpeting and all that, but
No, I mean
other enjoyable aspects.
That's the whole point of a lot of these live streams. And I think to a large degree, I was going to try to see how we tie it back into Venezuela. Well, we have tied it into Venezuela.
We have
how you would help out if you get elected over there and you could bring over somebody, man. That'd be great.
And the reason I'd like to bring them over, I'll say it right quick, and this is my argument for bringing them over, is because a lot of Venezuelans are hungry to work. I mean, and they're already experienced people. All the guys who are emerges, they're business owners. They're trained professionals. I mean, it's not like they've come out of some ragtag back into the place where the only thing they've ever done is herded sheep and threw rocks at their neighbors. They're generally well educated people, and so they come in and they're eager to get to work. And I say this from my own experience. I've worked with a lot of people who were Venezuelan who left before things got seriously started to go downhill, and they worked, and it was their work ethic that was just absolutely impressive. And so I mean it was inspiring, to say the least. So I think they would do good in here. And I've always told you, I've told everyone on the stream, I don't play around. My province is in trouble, and we need people who are willing to get their hands dirty and work. And if I can bring over, even 10 or 20 people who can increase the, the revenue, 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 the reven prosperity of my area, that's my job as a counselor, man. That's part of the reason I'm here. I'm here to benefit the people. I'm not here to benefit myself. And you help me out, and every month, I will send you, a list of the places I'll give part of my counselor salary to. No, man, listen, no, transparency, dude. Listen, that's a bullshit term nowadays. That's what people generally, they throw that word around like it's everything. But you know what? You help me out, I got no problem being transparent. Actually, you know what? I don't have a problem being transparent in general, because what in the hell do I have to hide? I sell car parts.
Yeah, no, man, that's
so.
No, and I could sense it. I mean, from the first time you and I got in, we connected through one of your comments on one of my videos, and the detail. What got my attention was the level of detail that you were describing in the situation that you were going through and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this is somebody who's not fishing, because it's weird. Every once in a while, I get people who you could tell they're trying to pull something out of me. You know what I mean? They're trying to see if I'm a fucking racist, or they're trying to see if I'm anti-Semitic and shit like that. And with yours, I was like, oh wow. And especially when I see like, a comment that's like I said, detailed and worded and stuff like that. Somebody took the time to write that out. And I love this shit. I mean, this is, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be doing this.
Yeah, see?
This is like the kind of thing I would be doing.
Well, I mean, my family has always been interested in politics. I mean, and my grandfather is the reason I got involved in this, is that I really got interested because I never met him, and I honestly heard, all these stories, but all the good things he did for the people around his area. And he almost actually became the local politician here, and few people told me he could have been a cabinet minister. He was that well respected, and that he wasn't educated. He had grade 6. Wow. Which for back then in Newfoundland, that was like having, a trade school diploma. No joke. If you had grade 6 and you were literate, you were educated. 60s and 70s, man. But and I remember I got back from Alberta, and first thing I did was I went up to his grave, and I said to it, listen, I am going to do what you weren't able to do. I said, I'm going to help more people. And I said, I'm going to get elected to the House of Assembly. I said, I'm going to honor what you've tried to do. And I try to live my life by thinking every day that I do anything, politically involved, or I volunteer. I say, what would he do? I try to think about that. And I'm not motivated by the money, Nachi. Like, I mean, trust me, I'm not rich, but, I'm well enough off that, I'm not in it to make a quick buck. I'm not in it to get a statue up somewhere. I just want to help people. And it sounds hollow. Some people might think, this guy's full of shit. But it's just, I make no secret of it. I'm very vocal about what I believe, and I don't back down from the way I see things. And if I'm challenged on it, I don't just run away. I'll fight. I don't know why we're getting so off topic, and I'm really sorry. But, long story short, if you know some Venezuelans out there, guys, whoever's listening, please talk to them, understand the situation, and, raise awareness, because this is a serious problem here. And, I mean, it's relatively at our doorstep. And we can't have another Cuba. Man, oh, man, we just can't. It's not La Caballa yet. But sooner or later, it will be.
No, I that's where I do hold hope, man. I think you can't let the news. That's the other thing I'm also learning with the more videos I do and reaching out to people. You can't let the news dictate the entire worldview, because that's the other thing. The news really does try to agitate as well. I think certain people within the news really do want to inform. And by the way, everything you were saying about how you want to do good and stuff like that, I don't doubt that there's enough people on, fuck it, I'll say it, within Antifa, and especially Black Lives Matter, because I think of Antifa more, I think of them as somewhat worse. Well, I don't know which one's worse, but whatever. I could almost understand the resentment of people with Black Lives Matter if you're a Black American. I mean, come on, you cannot deny the fucking unconscionable, inexcusable racism that used to exist in this country. Okay, I get that.
Oh God, no.
You have good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But bringing it back to what you were saying and stuff like that, that's why I don't doubt what you're trying to do. I definitely get it. And I think with as far as this turning into Cuba, I don't think it's going to. There's more than enough people.
I'm hoping not, Nachi. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm really hoping I am. But there's already the arrests, man. It's only a matter of time before.
Nah, I really don't. And by the way, that's where I'm not going to do what, and I'm not criticizing my family, I'm not going to do what so many Cubans did, which was leave. And by the way, they left knowing, or they left thinking that they could come back. They thought that it would topple on its own, that there was no way it could stand on its own. So that's number one, because the last thing I want to do is think of my father as a coward or anything like that. And number two, the thing is that now I've come to understand as an adult why so many people also are like, you know what, fuck, we don't want to have anything to do with this. Because in order for one of these governments to take over a country, dude, you have to be willing to murder people. And I think that's why so many Cubans left. They did not want to murder senselessly. And that's what does fucking worry me about Black Lives Matter and Antifa, as well as fucking white supremacy, the white supremacists, which have already proven it with this guy fucking driving a Dodge Challenger. There's fucking insane fucking people out there. And I'm going off a little bit right now. Yeah, that's. But I would not leave this country. I think that's when I would stay and fight, and more than anything, because after the United States, there's not many other places to go. There really isn't. In this world, when you look at about, what is it, 193, 195 countries?
Yep.
There's not many countries that are doing what the United States, and I'm going to include Canada, not just because you're on the show, but I think Canada is a great ally, and I know they've definitely contributed to helping out. And despite fucking Justin Trudeau, there's more than enough Canadians that do understand what freedom is.
Well, we do.
And they understand the cost behind it. The United States went through with England, if I'm not mistaken. Canada went through with France. So people get it. I think a lot of
kind of for us. I mean, where I'm from, we have a different perspective because we were a country. Like, we're the only part of Canada that was its own independent country after Confederation. We didn't join up. We literally just went like, nah, we're just gonna keep on fishing and playing the accordion. Have a nice day, guys. And we did, and then turned out we had a lot of really bad politicians, man. I'll have to tell you the history sometime, but long story short, there was a lot of incompetence and a lot of stealing. There was a shit ton of stealing. And we actually named one of the buildings in the city nearest me after one of the prime ministers who apparently embezzled a lot of money and then ran away from a very angry mob of people who wanted to lynch him.
Yeah.
So we rewarded his thievery. But
that is very...
no, like, for us, freedom, it's important, especially to people from Newfoundland, because we value it, we appreciate it, and we gave it up. We are the only democracy, I believe, in history who voted themselves out of existence.
Really?
We voted ourselves out of existence in a referendum in 1949. We agreed to join Canada. So we literally just said, we can't handle this on our own. This is hard. Adulting, as the young people say now, adulting is hard. Canada, take the wheel.
Really? Oh, that's fascinating. I did not know that. I should.
Yeah, well, I'll send you sometime.
Before I had you on the first live stream, I didn't even know really where Newfoundland was. And plus, I always assumed it was called Newfoundland. So
it is Newfoundland. Actually, it's not. It's just our pronunciation. We call it. It sounds like Newfoundland, but it's just the way we pronounce it. It is Newfoundland. Right. And for anyone who has money to travel here, we are great, except for St. John's, because it is expensive and the beer is overpriced. So come on out to the West Coast. We have a giant static plane on display.
Hey, by the way, the last point I wanted to make, which obviously
definitely
reminded me of it, in terms of, like, not wanting, what did he say here? I just don't want anything to do with this because every intervention America's been involved in has turned into a shit show, which is true. And I don't want to be part anymore of this whole fucking divide thing. And in a way, it's not like I'm censoring myself, but look, I want to tamper down on the fucks and this, and whenever I'm talking, like, with so many curse words. I also want to tamper the anger because, ideas and words have consequences. I do want to see the world become a better place, and it doesn't help when you fight fire with fire. You know what I mean? Especially racism with more racism, fascism with more fascism and stuff. So I want to be careful with this whole thing of what's, especially now, the latest drama with Charlottesville. And I think it's a matter of finding that right balance on how you say that. Because, like, I really wanted to do a video about Jimmy Fallon, and his little, which I go, you know what, man? All power to Jimmy Fallon. Okay, now that I'm going to end it with this. I was really pissed when I saw Jimmy Fallon say, the whole thing about white supremacy, which, yes, I get it, dude. but that's the obvious stance to take. It's so easy to fucking say that. Yes, we get it. You're not a racist. Hey, good for you. But more than anything, and I don't think in his case, I don't think it's simply because he doesn't want to lose fucking 7-figure job at NBC. Yes, I get that this guy does, is probably disgusted by this. But there's got to be the right way to also say, dude, Antifa and Black Lives Matter are just as guilty. They are not doing the public any favors. They're not providing a public service. And this is not the second coming. This is not the second coming of the civil rights either. They are making mountains out of molehills, man. But there's got to be a way to, how do you do this? Like, I would love to know, how can you convince someone within Black Lives Matter or Antifa, or hell, even a white supremacist? What would it take? What would be that it would take to help change someone's mind? You know what I mean? And before it's too late, because I think, like, the guy who was driving the Challenger, whatever that guy's, death threat.
It was too late. It was too late for him. But I mean, the only thing we can really do is engage in discourse on all parties. That's all we can do. We can only argue with them, and if they decide that they don't want to learn and they don't want to listen, well, we can only try, man.
And again, like someone like Maduro, there'd be no convincing him. And even if you did convince someone like Maduro, death penalty too. I mean, or at the very least, first, crimes against humanity. That guy, him and...
for God's sakes, all of his regime. Now, I'll give his former Attorney General, Luisa Ortega, some credit. I mean, she stood up to the regime, and now she's lost her job. And is slightly, if I'm not mistaken, she's under police surveillance. But, power to her. But, I mean, I honestly hope the regime topples itself in a as bloodless manner as possible. I mean, South America has seen enough coups and revolutions and bloodshed the last, centuries over. But all I can do, man, is just hope and wish. I'm not going to say pray out of respect for you, but I can only hope that Maduro just wakes up one morning and just says, "Okay, I made a mistake. Let's just have democracy again."
That won't happen.
I don't think it won't. But
I'm willing to bet won't happen. I think what will have to happen is, man, somehow, some way, the majority of the poor, basically, who are still sort of helping him or willing to take the handouts, they themselves.
They're all with the collectivos.
And I think, the collectivos you were saying? Yeah, and I think they themselves, it's almost like it's true. And obviously pointed this out before, you almost have to hit that rock bottom. You know what I mean? And maybe that's
it's coming closer than you think from what I've been hearing. But Nachi, man, it is getting late. I think we should both.
No,
we both got work.
It's off again, so.
Yeah, so it was great. I look forward to next time.
I didn't hear. What would you say before?
I just said that we should probably cut it short because we both got work.
Yeah, that's true. So finally got one as well. But what I was going to say, and plus, before my internet cuts off again, dude, thanks again. Enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. Been great, and we'll definitely be keeping in touch and keeping track of your.
Definitely, man.
Let me
definitely,
know
you'll definitely have to do a show with me during the campaign trail, man. I'd love to be on with you, with a little bit more PG because I'm still a private citizen for now, but so I can have a little bit of fun and as uncontroversially as possible. But man, it is honestly, it is a pleasure doing live streams with you. I absolutely is a highlight of my week.
Hey, cool, man, cool, dude. Hey, I enjoy it just the same, and if you want to be associated with me while you're doing that, that's
Definitely.
Appreciate it. I wouldn't mind. Hey, dude, you don't have to give me any credit. You don't want this, fucking tied to what you do, but that's cool. And why don't we just cut it off at that? Because I think the beer's kind of getting to me. Right
definitely. Yeah, definitely. All right. Good night, everyone.
Later, man. Good night, everybody, and thanks again for watching.
Definitely. Thanks.
Later.